So hi guys, welcome to today's video. Thanks for making time to watch this video. Today, what I have in stock is the goodbye clause and its uses in querying data using MySQL. Now, this particular clause is very important in the life of every data analyst or data scientist. And on the other hand, your inability to actually understand the usage of this clause can also plunge you into a lot of problems. Now, the results that one obtains after querying data can be grouped on different fields or different columns. What I mean is that, for instance, if I try to enter my employees table by saying I'm selecting everything from employees, sorry, from employees, when I execute this, I am fetching a 300,024 rows by 6-column table. Now I can also decide not to select everything by using this wildcard, but to select, say, only the last name column or the last name field. By to do that, I can just change this by saying last name, and then I execute that. When I execute that, you see that I now have a 300,024 rows by 1-column table. Now, this is where, or this is what I mean by the results being able to be grouped. Now, if I append this script with a group by clause, let's say group by last name, when I execute, there is a drastic change here. What we can see here in the output section is that the rows have totally decreased from 300,024 to 1,637 rows. What this means is that Workbench is trying to pick out only the distinct names from this particular last name column. And that in effect means that, say, Facello, Seymour, Bamford, or most of the names in this particular table are appearing more than twice. And as such, because we've used the group by, we are only picking out the distinct names. Now, by mentioning distinct, in my previous video, one of my previous videos, I talked about the usage of this distinct function. So let's try it as a form of revision. So when we try to execute this particular script here, we're selecting distinct last name from employees. We are expected to get the same number of rows and the same number of columns as we have here. Now let me execute this and let's see. So we see that this is the script that I wrote here. I have it here. The action is here. Select distinct last name from employees, and we are having the same 1,637 rows, which means that indeed, whenever we group by, we use the group by clause, then we are fetching out the distinct function. So the question arises that, okay, if the distinct function does exactly what the group by is doing, then why do we have to use the group by? Here comes the answer. Now, when we look at this table, we can see that we have a decreased number of names because of the group by clause that we used. Now, but we don't know how many times this Facello, Bamford, or any of the names are appearing in the data set or in the table. So we can do that by using an aggregate function, which I've already discussed in one of my videos. Now, let's try and append this particular script here with an aggregate function, which is the count function, because we want to know the number of times Facello is appearing in this particular table and the number of times all the other names are also appearing in this particular table. Now let's count the names. So we can move on and say count last name. Then we execute this. Oh, let me clean it up. Execute this. When I execute this, now I can see that Facello is actually appearing 186 times. Simal is actually appearing 167 times. Right. Now, what is the essence of the grouping, adding this grouping by clause? Well, let's take it off so we can tell the essence. Now let's execute this particular code without the group by. When we execute this code, the outcome that we have here directly tells us that this is a wrong code. The outcome is also wrong. We don't need an error message to tell that this is wrong, because Facello actually cannot appear 300,024 times. If this happens, then that means that everybody in the company has a last name which is Facello, and that doesn't make sense. So the inference here is that whenever you use an aggregate function, then you need to use the group by clause, because per the definition of the word, you are aggregating on a particular column, and that aggregate is affecting the next column which is appended to it in the script. So you need to group by. Let's Control Z and bring the script back. So this is the original script, and this is what we get. Now, in my recent video that I just did, I talked about the order by clause, and we can move on and attach the order by clause also in this particular script to make our result appear better. So what we're going to get is, we can say order by same last name. Let me clean that. When I execute this, I expect that it's going to order the last names in ascending order, starting from an A. And that is what we are seeing here. We can choose to order the other way around, starting from a Z. And this is what we have. And we can still see our count here. Now, I gave a tip the other time about using aliases, which we can employ here because this doesn't look so good and professional. So we can give an alias to this and say as name count, executed, and we have 148 here, 181, and this looks better than using the count last name, which are in parentheses. Also, you can also employ this name count in the order by clause. Let me just copy this and paste it here. Control B. So if I'm counting this by descending order, if I'm ordering this by descending order, that means I want to see the number, the individual surname that appears the most in this particular database, and that is Baba, which appears 226 times. On the contrary, the one that appears least is Sadowski, which appears 145 times. So coming to the end of this video, what is most important is that this group by clause is always used when you use a count function. An aggregate function, which is say a count, a minimum, a sum, average, or whatever aggregate function. And Also, you can employ the usage of order by, but the order by should always come after the group by. And in an instance where there is a where condition in this select statement, then the group by clause should also come after the where condition, so that the group by clause is always placed in between the where condition and the order by clause. And this group by clause is used mainly with the aggregate functions, which are sum, count, minimum, max, and whatsoever. I believe this video came in handy and it will be useful moving forward in your line of data analysis and data querying. So until we meet again, thanks for watching.